Revelation 2273. From the 23rd of March 1942. Different schools of thought. Truth depending on the degree of love. There is a grain of truth hidden in every school of thought, provided that it has the striving for God as its condition. But the fact that the different schools of thought do not agree is due to the fact that they are mostly based on intellectual thinking. And people's thinking does not always go the same way because people's degree of love is different. And thus God is closer to one person than to another as soon as he unites with God in love activity, and consequently this person will also be closer to the truth, since God himself is the truth. But where love becomes weaker, no matter how well developed the intellectual thinking is, it will still deviate from truth, and the result of the thinking is different from that of the first. And therefore it is understandable that not all views agree, although they touch the same problem. Thus they refer to the essence of the eternal deity and its working and activity. But seeking and researching in this area is pleasing to God, and he will never close himself to such seekers. He will give them according to their worthiness and their desire for truth. The seeker with human intellect does not live so much in the spiritual world. He tries to build a structure out of existing scriptures and traditions, so he takes a grain of truth with him into his work and builds on it, but he is without inner enlightenment, without inner connection with God, and therefore he will never be able to see clearly and brightly and will always grope in the dark, even though he represents his views as truth. But if the human being stands in love, then he is united with God, he will receive his strength, and strength is light. He will know the truth, for his spirit will instruct him, and then he will be unable to think anything but truth. And thus originated and gained direction of mind fully corresponds to the truth. If such an enlightened person succeeds in persuading the representative of another school of thought to walk right before God, so that he first puts himself into an elevated degree of love, then he will not take offense at the former's teachings. He will drop his views and join those which were gained under the right conditions, for then he will recognize them as truth, because the activity of love will always result in truth and the recognition of it. This is understandable because God is in him, and where God is all darkness will also disappear. And that is why the human being will always join the school of thought which came into being under the same conditions which also substantiate his nature. Increased activity of love must produce true thinking. But where this is deficient, the man stands in wrong thinking. Yet their will to solve eternal problems meets with God's approval and is therefore rewarded with truth, as far as this is permissible, thus in accordance with the degree of love. Amen.